Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be when you stop doing things for the narcissist. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So you have to remember, when you were in the relationship with the narcissist, you were an opportunity. You were the person who was going to elevate them from one leg of their life to the next leg. You were providing everything for them. You were what is known as the next new supply. You were known as the unpaid helper, the indentured servant, the person trapped in the narcissistic abusive cycle. You were the regulator. You were the cook, the cleaner, the maid. You were the chauffeur. You were the person who did the laundry, who took care of the pets, the kids, paid the bills, and all the while kept a 9-to-5 or full-time job and still managed to tolerate the toxicity of the narcissist. The reason why I just went through that huge list of things, and that's only about 1/3 of what you actually did, because you did way much more than that, is to highlight how strong you are, how courageous you are, and how resilient you are. And despite the fact that the narcissist threw everything in the kitchen sink at you, you are still here. You see, you made it, or you're making it. You're out of the narcissistic relationship. You're healing. You're acquiring the wisdom. You're understanding exactly how strong you are, and that you were tested to your core. And one of the main things for this video is when you stop doing things for the narcissist, that's when they begin to sense that things are shifting, things are changing in the relationship when you were with them. So let's go back in time. You now know that the love bomb is the first part of the narcissistic abusive cycle, many times, not always, but usually. That's what I would call the euphoric stage, because not everybody falls in love or loves the narcissist. Euphoric stage is a much more appropriate term, but you can call it whatever you want. Anyway, that's when they're grooming you. They're figuring out all about you. They're learning about you, and they're studying you, etc. Then once you get in that relationship with them, no matter what it is, maybe it's a friendship, maybe it's a roommate, maybe it's a coworker, colleague, romantic relationship, who knows what it is, but once a business partner, once you're in that, now the narcissist knows which button to press. They also know who you are. They also learned all about you because you were an open book. And you were doing things for them, even though you didn't even realize it way back then, but you were doing things for them. You were providing so many opportunities for them. You were sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your potential creations, your plans, your future hopes, dreams, aspirations, goals, and so much more. And as you were doing that, the narcissist was taking mental notes in their tiny little pea brain, and they would more and more be asking you questions, but then they would not be giving you credit for the answers you would be telling them or teaching them or explaining them. They would take those ideas as if they were their own. They would say that those ideas came from somebody else, that you never even said those words. And then you would be scratching your head. That's only one microcosm of what happened. But as your ideas dried up, and as you began to get peppered more with abuse, and you couldn't tolerate being in it, even though you didn't know where you were, but you were trapped in that zombie-like, trance-like state, maybe even the trauma bond, but you were being devalued any way you cut it, because that's the second stage of the narcissistic abusive cycle, which is the devaluation stage. This is when they know they have their dirty claws sunken into you. When that was happening, you didn't know what was up or down, left or right, in or out. You couldn't figure it out because your mind was being consumed by a apex predator, yes, the narcissist. This is when you couldn't make a proper decision to save your life, which means you couldn't figure out to turn left or right. Should I park in that parking space? Do I have enough gas in the car? Is there enough food or groceries in the house? Is the house clean enough? Did I forget to clean the toilet, or did I forget to clean the shower? Did I walk the dogs? Did I get the dog food? Did I pay this month's electricity bill? Did I pay the tuition for the kids? Did I pay the mortgage? Are the vacation plans taken care of? Am I available when they want me to be available this weekend for that 2-hour window between 12:15 and 2:15, because that's when they can pencil me in? You see, you didn't know what was going on because you weren't taught this in school. Now you're understanding so much more, not only about narcissism and about humanity, but about yourself. And you're realizing that we all may look the same, meaning as human beings, the flesh, the 4 limbs, and the ability to speak whatever language it is, but that we're all cut from different cloths. And the cloths that we're cut from are narcissistic on one end, and the other end is the empath, and in between is everything else. But having said all those things, the person that you're considering, they looked like you, meaning they behaved similar to you in the beginning of that relationship, but the longer you're in that relationship, the less they behave that way, because they were pushing your buttons. They were pushing you to extinction. They were pushing to see how far and how much they could take from you. And then again, now you're in the second part of the narcissistic relationship, the devaluation stage. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how you got there, and you certainly don't know how to get out of it. What you're figuring out, though, when you're in that part of the relationship is that you don't want to be there, but you feel compelled to be there, and you don't know that this person's abusing you. Yes, abusing you. When the narcissist had you trapped in that part of the cycle, which is the body, the length of the relationship, which is the devaluation stage, they were slowly taking bites of you. Physically, metaphorically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, intellectually, every way possible. This is why you couldn't function on such a high level. This is why your health probably took a hit or two. This is why you weren't exercising the way you used to. This is why you were not participating in the hobbies that you used to participate in. This is why all of your friends and all the things you used to do in the past, they disappeared because you weren't doing what you used to be doing. You were doing what that person wanted you to do, and what they wanted you to do was to get smothered from their toxicity. Now, the more you stayed in that relationship and the longer you stayed in it, the more the toll was taken on by you. Because in this relationship, you have two people. And one person, the toxic person, is dumping all their toxicity and all their negativity and all their manipulating tactics into the other person, which was you. And you were trying to handle it and tolerate it, and you thought you could stay a couple steps in front of it, or you thought you knew what they were going to do next, and you thought that, oh, it's just they just had a rough childhood, or maybe they had a bad day at work, or you were shrugging things off. The longer you shrug things off, the more you gave the narcissist a hall pass to abuse you more and more. I can say that because I lived in this cycle myself for many years. But you didn't know then what you know now. You weren't taught this in school, so how could you know that your abuser, the person that perhaps you even fell in love with, knew what they were doing? And they were doing it deliberately, intentionally, and on purpose, which is trying to extinguish you and all of your resources. Again, having said this, eventually something gave within you. Eventually you began to pull back, or maybe you weren't as responsive as you used to be, or maybe you weren't answering the texts as quickly as they wanted you to, or you weren't saying what they wanted you to say, because the narcissist got so accustomed to knowing what you would say, how you would say it, what you would do, when you would do it, and how you would report back to them. It actually got quite boring for them. Yes, they got jaded and bored with you, with the relationship, and with the commonality and the knowingness of you. Now, this is not a dig on you, and it's certainly not a dig on me. It's what these people do. Again, I lived in the cycle for years, so I can say this. Once they get what they want, they don't want it any longer. Once they get what they want to keep that person trapped in the narcissistic fog, in the trauma bond, in the devaluation stage, and they want to continue to take bite-sized pieces of them whenever they want to. And then that person, which was me and possibly you get a day, maybe a couple days, maybe an hour, maybe a couple hours, maybe a week, who knows, to recharge your battery, and then you wipe the slate clean. Or maybe the narcissist wiped it clean and acted like it wasn't that bad. Or maybe they give you a little mini love bomb saying, oh, no, everything's fine. I'm here with you now. Everything's great. What's the big deal? So what? I just gone away for a week and I told you it would only be 2 hours. What's the problem? I'm here now. And then you, because you didn't know any better, you would put your guard down and say, yeah, I guess so. All right, let's just continue on with whatever we're going to do. And then they would say, yep, got you again, no problem. So what will I do? Maybe we'll be intimate for a couple hours, maybe for a couple minutes. Maybe I will tell you I'll be back in 20 minutes, but I'm going to the grocery store and I won't be back till tomorrow morning, but I have you back on the hook. No matter what happened, that's what the narcissist did. So as you were providing utility and opportunities and supply for them, supply means your attention, your intelligence, your access, your money, hopes, dreams, your goals, everything about you, and your physical presence, of course, and your availability is a huge one. But as you were doing that, and as you were changing your access that you were allowing them, meaning you weren't sharing things with them any longer, or not as much, or you weren't as available, or you weren't giving them as much time a day because you were pulling back, even though you didn't know why you were pulling back, but you were. They were sensing this. The narcissist has a sixth sense, and that sixth sense is a predatorial sense. It's an instinctive sense that they know when someone's changing, when someone's waking up, when someone's getting the wisdom, or when someone's pulling back. And that's why they do the little mini love bombs throughout the relationship to try to draw you back into line, to get you back like a good unpaid helper or a good indentured servant. In other words, you should be saying, thank you, ma'am, may I have another? Thank you, sir, may I have another? Well, that's what you did until you didn't. And when you didn't, that's when you finally got the light bulb moment and it clicked with you. I'm not saying you definitely at this moment understood what narcissism was, probably not. But that's when you realized that your friends and their spouses didn't have a similar relationship as you, or your siblings and their spouses didn't have similar relationships, or your friends didn't have the same relationship. You were beginning to put two and two together and realize that you were being targeted. You had one main problem, actually thousands of main problems with one person. and that person was the narcissist. So example, whenever you were with them, there was always drama, confusion, chaos, disruption, misrepresentation, and more. That's not even counting lying, stealing, cheating, and more. But when you're with everybody else, you could be yourself. You were being heard, you were being listened to, you were being valued, you were being respected, and you couldn't figure it out. But then eventually you did figure it out. You're like, wait, I didn't sign up for this. Something's wrong. Every time I see this person, I'm holding my breath. Every time I see this person, I'm walking on eggshells. I can't speak my mind, because if I do, they will throw a rage fit on me, or slam a door in my face, or throw something at me, or give me the silent treatment, or blame me. But with everybody else in my life, or most people, they actually listen to me, and they're talking to me. I can't get this. That's when you begin to go down that rabbit hole of education and exploration. And remember, the narcissistic abusive cycle, it will twist and turn your life upside down, inside out, in any way but the direction it was going in before you met the narcissist. But as you went down that rabbit hole of education and exploration, something pivotal happened within you, possibly when you were in the relationship, but most likely when you were out of it. That's when you cracked the code. That's when you found that needle in a haystack and you realized, oh my gosh, this is a debilitating, life-threatening, taxing, challenging, narcissistic relationship from hell. How did I get in this? How do I get out? What happened here? I can't believe this happened. Well, when all these things take place, then you begin to really do the deep dive. Now, for me, it happened post-relationship, about 3 weeks after the discard, which was 5 years ago last night. Yay me. Having said that, for you, maybe you figured it out a day later. Maybe it was a year later. Maybe this is the first video you're consuming and the relationship you were considering was from 16 years ago. I can't tell you. But you were supposed to receive the message whenever you were ready to receive it. So don't blame yourself. You are the student. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. That's how it appeared with me, and that's how it's appearing with you. So all these things I'm sharing, they go back to the thumbnail. When you stop doing things for the narcissist, when you began cutting things out to them, perhaps pulling money back, or you weren't available for that 2-hour window on a Saturday every other month of the year, excluding leap year, because that's the only time they could carve out for you. Or when you weren't picking them up or giving them rides or paying for their Amazon packages or making them look good at parties when they would be trying to disrupt other people's birthdays or events or weddings or celebrations or funerals, etc. When you weren't doing those things, essentially regulating them and giving them access to you, that's when they began to sense that you were changing. Now, how deeply they knew you were changing, I can't tell you. I'm not going to. It depended on about how much you were changing and how quickly you were changing. Remember, I shared with you earlier, the narcissist has the sixth sense. The sixth sense is real. It's realer than these trees surrounding me. It's realer than the air you're breathing. You're understanding that now. Remember, the narcissist is a predator. And no, there's no script here. And yes, I can probably go 2 minutes without blinking my eyes. The point being is when the energy runs through you the way it runs through me, you'll be able to do what I do, possibly. All of these things I'm sharing is when you stop doing things for the narcissist, they realize that something's different. When they realize something's different, they will do one of a few things. 1, try to get you back into line. I already explained that. 2, discard you. Or 3, get ready to insert the new supply. Any way you cut it, it's not good for you. It wasn't good for me. But the narcissist is a coward and a bully. And what they do is this. They want to infiltrate or slither into people's lives under the disguise of caring or being in love or loving them or wanting the best interest for them. And then once they get close enough to that person, then they take whatever they can from them. And once they have enough, or once that person is catching on or waking up or wising up, then they will remove themselves, usually. Or once they sense that that person's changing, then they'll have to go elsewhere. And this is why the cycle continues to go on. So now the third part of the narcissistic abusive cycle, you now know, it's the ending. When the ending ends, that's when it was supposed to end. Meaning, that's it. It's done. It's over. You now understand what's going on. Or maybe this is the first video you're consuming. You don't quite know yet, but you will in time. The fourth part of the video, or the fourth part of the narcissistic abusive cycle, is the Hoover. I've shared this recently a lot because we are now in the holiday Hoover time of year. The Hoover is nothing to take lightly. The Hoover can destroy your life again. The Hoover can send you all the way backwards if you allow it. Do not accept a Hoover. Become unhooverable. Get off the radar of this toxic person. Go no contact, block them, delete them, remove them, and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. Now, if it's not that easy, I understand. Get ready to create, develop, and execute your exit plan. I've been creating, developing, and executing exit plans for almost over 5 years. I can help you do it too. The whole point is the narcissist will know when you're changing. They will know when you're not doing things for them that you used to do. They will know when you're pulling back. They will know when you're waking up. And this is when they usually try to do the most damage to people, the discard. The discard is the ending of the relationship many times, but not always. And we have a visitor here, a beautiful hawk somewhere up in the woods, in the trees. Hear that? That's beautiful. The discard is meant to destroy you and everything that matters to you, including your health, your time, your relationships, your hobbies, your money, and your soul. It's meant to extinguish you. Sorry, not trying to be graphic. I'm letting you know real life what's going on here on this planet called Earth with toxic people. The discard usually is meant to take place when the narcissist knows you're catching on, or they already know that you caught on, or they already have the new supply lined up, or all of the above, or something pivotal happened. You lost your job, you have a health challenge, you have no more money, something like that. When all these things come together, it's what is called a horrible time for the person who was targeted, which definitely was me and possibly was you. That's when the narcissist tries to twist the knife in you deeper and deeper. Remember, you didn't know what you know now. You didn't even know narcissism existed, but you were pulling back. You were removing yourself. You weren't tolerating their poor behaviors. You weren't laughing at those crass and callous jokes any longer. What you were doing is beginning to put up a boundary. What you were doing was beginning to stand up for yourself. What you were beginning to do was really get the message that this person you're considering, they can't change, they won't change, and they don't change. But it took you as long as it took you to figure it out. For me, it took me almost 5.5 years, give or take. Point being is when I finally figured it out, I was like, oh my goodness, how did I not know this? How did I stay in it? How vulnerable was I? How naive was I? How trusting was I? Well, I checked all those boxes and I started figuring it out with the apex predator, the narcissist. Then I went down different rabbit holes of education and exploration, as I've already illustrated. Then I looked at myself and I put all that energy and attention into me, which is how I healed and why I healed the way I healed during a pandemic. 2 years, 2 days isolated, left for dead. Nobody would have ever known anything about me, and that's how the predator wanted it to be, because the smear campaign was well underway. But funny thing happened, I made it and I'm here and I'm paying it forward, and that's why you're here and you made it this far in the video. So before I close it, I want to share this. When you stop doing things for the narcissist, that means your time, your energy, your love, your money, your empathy, and your resources all go back to you. I know it's not that easy, but that's what happens in time. And you must understand that you have to cut the 4 ties from the narcissist: the emotional tie, the financial tie, the physical tie, and the spiritual tie. Perhaps you've already cut some of those. Maybe you're still working on the first one. Whatever you're doing, continue to cut those ties. The more you cut, the stronger you get. The stronger you get, the less you do for the narcissist. The less you do for them, the more they have to slither off elsewhere to a new source of supply. And whoever that new source of supply is, you must remember this, and I'm going to close the video. Many times people romanticize or fantasize or think, if you will, the worst case situation, that the narcissist has just found their prince charming or their princess. They're living their best life. It's all puppies and rainbows. The paparazzi swarming all around their house. They have endless flowing supplies of money. They're getting more and more pretty and handsome by the day, and that they can do whatever they want to effortlessly. Well, that's not what happens. What happens is the toxicity continues to ooze out of their veins. It continues to haunt their tiny little pea brain. It continues to disrupt their energy and the energy of anybody that's around them. And the narcissist will punish the new supply for being the next new supply, unless, of course, the new supply is a worse predator than the narcissist. In that case, they're both going to punish each other, and one of them is going to discard the other one. I can't tell you. I don't know. I can't tell you, and I don't care. What I will say is this: get away from these people as far as you can. Get away from these people as fast as you can. Stop giving them chances and stop doing things for them. They will kick you when they're down, when you're down. They will mock at you and laugh at you for helping them. And they will throw you under the bus any chance they get. If you are hanging off of a cliff with 2 fingers, barely struggling to hang on there, and the narcissist was at the top of that cliff, they're not going to lift an arm down to help you out. They're going to step on one of your fingers and laugh at you, because that's what they do. They will never change, and they don't care about anybody but themselves. So everyone, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I hope this video didn't trigger you or upset you. I made it because I'm beginning to share a little bit more of what I know about the topic and about my experiences and about so much more about wisdom I have acquired on the planet. I've probably shared about 35% of what I know. I don't share it all in videos for my own reasons, but I'm beginning to share a little bit more. So continue to stay on the path, continue to focus on yourself, continue to believe in yourself, and understand that you need to stop doing things for the narcissist. You need to stop thinking that they're going to change. They don't, they won't, and they know it. I love you all, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. And happy early Halloween. Tonight is the 30th. Last night was the 29th, and tomorrow is Halloween. So if you enjoy that, enjoy it. If you don't, it's fine. Just another day of the year. I love you all. Bye.